How you doing, everybody, and welcome to Dicey Decisions, where we roll dice, spin stories, and play some game. This week's Dicey Spotlight is a gentleman named Conscious Lee. He's not actually in the TTRPG community, but he is doing extremely important work educating people on inclusivity and the reality of the world through a lens of compassion and critical engagement. And I would think that in this time where individual companies like PragerU are trying to influence young people with misinformation, that someone doing the kind of work that he does, he is a public speaker, but he's also very active on social media, it's very important work that he's doing. He has a very active Twitter, like I said, but you can find him on TikTok, actually, under the same handles of The Conscious Lee. You can support him at his Patreon, for pretty cheap. I think the lowest tier is $2 a month, and that's for getting just regular access to his stuff, not even including behind the scenes and stuff like that. That's at higher tiers. But you can find him at patreon.com/theconsciouslee. So, without any further ado, let us jump into this episode of Dicey Decisions. Last we left our story, a glimmer of hope had appeared. After speaking to a graver, a powerful arcanist who claimed the blessing of the Silver Lady, a human god who presides over death, you were told of a holy artifact that, if retrieved, could undo the necromantic curse placed upon Soot's body, preventing him from being returned to life. After some convincing, Graver Val agreed to restore his life if you retrieve her holy relic from an old ward of hers, Benneth, who stole all valuables from the church after frequenting an old ruin outside city limits. It is late, and snowing still, as you, Finnan, and Katrina make your way back to the Dragon's Flagon.
I still love that name.
I need to thank you again for going out of your way for a group of strangers. Truly, even if this doesn't work, we're in your debt.
I don't like dealing in debt. To be entirely honest with you, I'm running a tab, we'll call it that.
That's fair.
That's why I don't trust him. Keeps mentioning he's running a tab.
So, you two make your way back to the Dragon's Flagon. Is there anything you'd like to do before you lay yourselves down to rest for the evening?
I'll go ahead and deposit I'll deposit some of that money back.
How much?
I'm gonna go ahead and leave Kvatya with 200 of it.
Okay.
So I'm leaving myself with 100 platinum for walking around money.
That's some decent
That's
pocket
some
change.
Nice pocket chain.
Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah.
Something. Buy yourself something pretty. Spend it all in one place.
You know, resurrection.
Just buy yourself a resurrection. Oh, you got one of those Target resurrections. You
I mean-
splurged.
You can buy a diamond, and that's essentially what you're buying.
You're not wrong. All right.
And you can spend it all in one place, I guess.
I guess you can.
One platinum is how much gold?
A platinum
10.
is 10 gold.
Gotcha.
All right. So, Katrina, you have, of course, the bed in that little back room. Finnan, you have kind of an upstairs space that's yours.
Nah.
That's... Nah?
No. If he has a space, like a room at the Flagon, he's leaving it for either Katrina or Helga.
It's less of a bedroom and more of like office space.
Okay, I'll accept that. He strings up a hammock.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of, yeah. It's like the same back room that like is locked up and has the safe in it. That's basically where he would sleep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, still comfortable, but you know, all that stuff. So, you two, lay yourselves to rest that evening.
Cat's gonna keep an ear out for when Helga walks back in.
All right. Katrina, you kind of stay up listening as the patrons of the bar get a little livelier as the evening goes on, seeming to kind of enjoy that last little bit of winter, some warm drinks, some good songs, and eventually they start to filter out, and it's very, very late into the evening when the bar is quiet. And you eventually do fall asleep without hearing Helga return. You become aware of yourself, Katrina,
Ah, shit.
in a
I hate
darkened
it when
space.
that happens.
Ah, shit.
And I just remain in a disassociative state.
You think to yourself as you feel an alien breeze upon you. Just gonna... One sec. There we go. A little bit of wind. And a little bit of light from behind you, of course, just barely glittering off of a vaguely familiar form that you've seen in dreams past. But it is dark. And you cannot see very well.
Can I move this time?
You cannot. You feel very, very sluggish, and not as if you've been restrained with like binding, but as if your whole body is made of lead.
Not this again.
Your voice echoes very quietly and dimly in a very large space.
I attempt to do magic.
Much easier than last time, your hand flares to light with your familiar firecracker-esque magic and shoots out before you, almost unbidden, into a brazier that lights the space. The brazier is at the feet of a large golden statue of a proud dragon, looking off to the east.
Carrie stepped on my computer and I picked her up and she yelled at me.
Here, bear.
I'm gonna struggle and try to move.
Go ahead and make a charisma saving throw.
Charisma. Interesting. Hello, baby cat. Carrie, say hello to everyone.
Carrie.
That
Carrie, awesome.
Saving throw was a 9.
Aw.
You know, just for fun, roll me a d6.
Uh, 4.
You struggle and strain, but your body is still restrained by that feeling. And the dream slowly fades, and you come to consciousness next morning.
I like that.
Helga does not return until the next morning while you are eating breakfast. Finnan, she enters as you are having breakfast in the bar. She looks healthy, dark-haired, and far more relaxed than the last few days that you've seen her.
Ah, Helga. Have some breakfast?
Yes.
Good. I
I
thought
would like
so.
to order. I would like to order all of the meat.
Katya, you think you
Oh,
Katya, think you can handle all of the meat?
Oh,
All.
yes, I think I could handle all of the meat.
All.
She's...
Gotcha. You're really cool. You know that?
I do know that, sweetheart.
Oh, does she ever?
Like,
So, how was your evening, Helga?
it was
Productive.
better. It was better than usual on these type of.
Finnan
Huh?
looks about to say something, and then just stuffs his face full of egg.
Ah,
I don't know why that makes me chuckle.
Is there anyone else other than us in here?
Well, we stayed up pretty late, Katrina, so I don't know if you would have woken up pretty early. I would say it's about 9 in the morning. So, no, at a bar, probably not.
Yeah, the Flagon, as nice as it is, doesn't serve breakfast typically.
just for special guests, like Helga.
Basically, when Finnan's in town, he loves breakfast food.
And who doesn't love breakfast food?
God.
Helga,
The
you were there.
the fuck? No. Why would?
Remember?
Hold on. Before
no,
you answer
why
that, Katrina, go
Why
ahead
do
and
you-
make a fucking nature check.
Oh, damn.
Will 21.
Never mind. Everything happened.
No. Why would you ask such a thing?
Because
Even
you
it. What
ran
even
off.
is
You
where
ran
there?
off. Well, I mean, I would say werewolf, but that doesn't really fit your style. You ran off at night during a full moon. You said that it was a more productive or better version of these nights that you usually have, which means it happens often. So either you just went on a serious bender by yourself, or you have like some monthly fuck buddy meetup, or you're a werebear.
Claudia, do you happen to
should
know
I
if it
come
was
back later?
I do not even know what is this werebear you speak of, or know what this bender you speak of either.
Claudia, do you know if it was a... Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
I'll just leave this here. And she, like, puts the meat in front of Helga and, like, looks at all of you very concerned.
Yeah, that's another thing. You asked for all of the meat, and I know that you like meat, but all of the meat.
I'm hungry.
Why
It was how you say exaggerate. What?
Why are you so hungry?
Because I was out all night.
Why were you out all night?
I had things.
Do you really think it's, a good idea to pry, Cat?
I mean, kind of.
Fair enough. You know her better than I do. And he just goes back to eating.
I mean, I've known you for a whole, 2 weeks, so...
It's more than I've known her.
I feel like we're close enough now.
I do
You can tell
consider you a
she's
good
mostly
friend.
joking.
I do consider you a good friend, Cat, but also keep in mind all my other friends are dead. Besides you guys.
Oh, I'm a friend?
Aw.
Helga looks at Doc.
Cool.
I'm mostly joshing with you.
What is joshing? Isn't that a man? Who is joshing?
I'm pulling your leg.
My leg is over here, though.
I'm poking fun. I'm making a joke. I'm kidding.
Oh, why did you not just say so?
Look, I don't have any goats in the stables. You can't be kidding.
Listen here, you little shit.
He just has the biggest shit-eating grin.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Also, this was totally by accident, but Helga's theme is currently playing, which makes me very happy.
Nice.
So,
Helga's theme.
DM, why did I roll
What?
a nature check?
To see if you would have ever heard about where anything's.
Where?
My hairbrush.
Where is my bear? Helga's just like, okay, so where is bear?
I don't know. Helga, where is Bear?
Where is bear? You said you're the one asking where bear.
Oh my god.
Helga, what do you see?
Oh.
I see Cat looking at me.
Let me rephrase. You turn into a beast during the full moon. And I'm not just meaning on your monthly.
Oh yeah. Yes, I do.
Cat's face just goes entirely blank. Like she didn't expect an actual straight answer.
Before you were asking me where is bear, I guess I was bear, now not.
Oh my god.
Alright.
Which one?
To be fair, she doesn't really have one.
Oh, where is my bear?
The cat's kind of just sitting there, wide-eyed, like her entire world just got turned upside down.
Finnan nudges her drink to sit over the bar so that way it doesn't spill.
In West Beckenville, I was well.
So, is that why your hair turned white yesterday?
I mean, it does that every time she rages.
Maybe I guess so.
So you turned into a bear last night.
Yes.
And how often has this been happening?
On the full moon.
But for how long in your life?
Like 5 years.
Did you...
Okay.
Did you encounter some kind of very good bear that you fought?
My tribe is the ice bears.
Well, I guess that'll do it.
Did everyone in your tribe turn into bears on the full moon?
Not everyone, but lots.
Okay.
I was not very good at it, but I'm getting better.
Kat stands up, she grabs her mug, she walks over to the other side of the bar, and she fills it up.
And
she walks back.
And
as she walks back, she just drops like a gold into Finn's hand.
You get me one too.
I'll play bartender, it's alright. And he hops over the bar and pulls down a drink for Helga.
Yeah, I was sorry I was being a little secrety about it.
Secrets, Cat kind of just like drinks very heavily.
Yes, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I got nervous. Yeah.
I mean, it's totally understandable, but hopefully you've at least felt comfortable enough with Kat to share that now.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
you weren't
just imagine if
supposed to
you
hear
guys
it.
had gotten arrested.
My
Oh
God.
yeah. Oh yes, you weren't supposed to hear any of that. You should leave.
Alright,
I kid.
and he
I
and he
kid.
hops down from behind the
No,
bar and
no,
just
I'm
walking
kidding.
out.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's still
kidding.
walking out.
No, I'm kidding. Come back.
Just pulled ass back in here. You're part of this group now.
You were very kind to us in our time of need. I am kid. I am doing the joke.
You're joshing?
The pulling of the leg.
No, I'm Helga. I don't know who this joshing is.
Oh God.
He's a friend of mine.
I really need to have an NPC named Joshing now.
Joshing! Helga had a friend back in her tribe named Joshing.
Kind of a douche, though. Bit of a prankster.
Oh my God.
So, Fitting gets back to the bar after his fake walking out, hauls himself back up onto his serving stool, and he just kind of leans on the bar and just says, "Alright, so what's the plan?"
We talking about Soot now, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all-
what is
y'all-
the plan?
I assume y'all fill in Helga on everything.
Oh yeah, we should
Yeah,
probably
how
tell
do
her
I
what
know?
happened yesterday, Cat.
Shoot about bearing, yes. And she kind of relays it very quickly. That they, made a deal and they have to go and do the fetchy thing and all that jazz.
We got to go get a thing for another person to give us the thing. I
Thing
understand.
being soul.
Yes. Thing being so.
And then once we've done that,
I hope Tip is listening. Well,
once
wait,
she's
no, we're not live.
cleansed Soot's soul, then we can worry about figuring out a way of resurrection, which she says that she has some way of doing, but it's expensive. But thankfully, you're talking to a business owner.
Oh yeah, there are two steps of this.
Don't worry, the other one's a financial step, and I got that covered.
We also have money.
No.
We have large bag of money.
How much we talking?
I don't cannot count that high.
Oh, that's right. 300. It's difficult.
I don't think that we have enough for what this entails. But
Which is why I said I would take care of it. We'll call it part of your tab.
oh god.
I don't trust this tab thing.
Was that Helga in?
No, that's Kit. That's me.
Okay, making sure.
This is why we don't trust Finn and keep bringing up a fucking tab.
Actually, you do have enough money for the components.
That's what I thought. Because we have like.
You have 2,480
Gold.
worth of gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, worth of copper.
Yeah.
So you
We
have
have, like, 80
248 gold.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
saying.
No, that doesn't math out.
Helga's rich.
You have like 160 gold.
Shh, Helga's rich.
No, clearly Finnan is rich.
But Helga's rich.
Helga's rich in
Bad.
bear.
I am rich in bear.
All right, so do you two have a usual game plan when it comes to infiltrating and all that stuff?
We walk in and we get the thing.
I definitely think that we need to at least let Oran and Gurg and our contact within the city know. I don't know if they're going to want to come. I can't ask them to come.
We should at least, or you all can at least keep them in the loop. I don't know if you need me there or not.
I hope Oren can come. And Gerd can come. I hope if his arm is Dicey.
Oh yeah, I guess that's something we should warn you about. Our friend has metal arms.
I bet he's real good at lifting things.
He is.
I am also real good at lifting.
Yes, Helga, we know.
That doesn't say
She's like
anything.
fle-
She kind of just
She's like
does the
flexing.
arm cross to make her muscles look bigger thing again.
We get it. Everyone can lift things. Jeez.
So yeah, do we want to try and go into the city and speak with Artur and Oranagurg, or
Yes.
Would you want me to be there, or would you want me to fuck off?
no, we definitely want you to be there. I'm just trying to think of if it's safe or not for us to try and go about in the city in broad daylight. I feel like
Maybe it's
She kinda
better
looks
if
at-
it.
yeah, she looks at Helga. I
What?
just
I have something on my nose.
no, you just
I
you're
have
just very
bacon on
noticeable.
my nose. I have bacon on my nose, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Just a little bit.
Just do
No,
it, you know.
you're very noticeable. And while I have my dress and
Why, thank
I
you.
can. We're wanted, remember?
Yes.
I mean, I have a plan.
What is your plan?
It's already been, established within the fiction of the city that Half-Stout Goodbarrel has been traveling with a lady in a dress along with his cart. So, if Finnan and his lady travel into the city with a cart that has a large, about Helga-sized bundle of something covered in a blanket in it, no one will be the wiser.
Oh,
I mean, that works.
I think I am putting
It's-
up what you are putting down.
We have established you're very good at picking up things.
indeed. I mean, I feel like that'll work as long as I wear my cloak and keep my head down.
And Helga, you've just got to keep your head down till we get to where we're going.
I can do.
And we'll have some sort of word that if one of you says it, if you feel like we're in a situation where we need to be out, that's our sign that we skedaddle.
What how about where is bears?
So, especially if you hear me talking to, let's say, a paladin, and I say, "Excuse me, could you please tell me where is bears?" That's a good sign to run.
Sorry.
Like it.
I can see how that might be hard to bring up in conversation.
You never know. I speak languages. I can feign, not fully understanding trade tongue.
Oh, where is bears?
So, how about this? I'll go and prepare
will.
hops.
I will be in cart, so like just tell me signal, I guess. Or first, or what's the safe word, guys?
I think we established it's where is bears.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, so you have a plan?
Sounds like it.
All right, where are you going?
This is like the best plan ever. That Helga has.
Katrina, are you wearing your armor? Yeah. Or Katrina, are you wearing your armor and the cloak again?
I'm going to say fuck it, and I'm gonna put my armor on and then put my dress on over my armor.
It's a good look.
It
like a
looks
classy
very
bitch.
bulky.
It looks very bulky, but I'm wearing my cloak anyway, and I'll keep my cloak drawn. I'm not gonna get caught without my armor again. Fuck that shit.
I mean, it's a cold morning. The lady's wearing a cloak. Leave her be.
It is cold time.
All right, so you are Helga's gonna be in the cart. Sweet. Where are you all going first?
I'm going to assume that Cat points Finnan in the direction of where Oran and Gurg are.
Do you?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
The question was where we were going first, and I figured Cat would be pointing Finnan in the direction of Oran, Gurg, and the contact.
Yeah. Cat will give you directions.
Okay. Finnan follows along and seems to, the moment they cross into the city, he puts on that mask of his and just...
Customer service face.
Yeah, apparently that makes him distrustful, so I'm trying not to use that phrase specifically.
No, for me it's the tab that makes him distrustful.
No, use it. Use the customer service face.
So he's putting on his customer service face and is literally just talking the entire way through the city.
Go ahead and roll me a performance check, please.
Okay. Let me see which dice will be kind to Finnan today.
This
Will
is
it
going to
these
be a
heavy ones?
charisma stealth check.
Ooh, fun.
Something I am very good at.
Ooh.
That rolling stealth, except you add your charisma bonus to it instead.
No, this is performance. Because you're not being sneaky.
So
Oh,
that
I
would be a total of 25.
Holy shit!
All right. Jesus Christ. You guys needed this, man. So, you all pack Helga into the cart. She kind of curls up. You have to curl up, bring your knees to your chin, and then lie on your side. But it's not uncomfortable.
Origami bear.
We leave some jerky in there for her.
Nom, 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 nom.
Cover her with a tarp. And Finnan, you sit with Katrina at the front of the thing. Well, actually, it's kind of a small cart. It's only big enough for Finnan. So, Katrina, you have to walk alongside it, but it's still, a bit of a... I'll let you decide who rides and who walks alongside, but...
Finnan actually would probably ask Cat before they leave the flagon, are you any good with animals, vehicles, that sort of thing?
Animals, vegetables, and minerals.
I'm pretty good with animals. I do have a horse.
Then you think you would drive the cart? Wouldn't look good for a business owner to let a lady walk along in the snow where I'm clearly just a servant of the city.
Are you sure? I don't want to make you walk.
I got short legs. I don't get as tired so quickly.
Is that how that works? I feel like he gets tired more quickly because he's got to step faster.
I mean, that's what he's telling everybody else, is that he doesn't actually get tired, but you don't know.
Aw, silly little hobbit.
So...
So yeah, Cat will ride at the insistence of Finnan. But she doesn't like it.
Alright, so Cat rides in the cart, because, remember, this is a really fancy dress. This is like, you know, rich daughter of a, maybe someone, of like a courtesan or something, looking dress. So, you know, it would make sense that she would be treated like a lady.
Lady.
A lady. So, yes?
My lady.
Does Finnan wear a trilby?
No.
Okay, good. Be a very quick death. So, as you all pass through the gates, you are, you chat, your way, constantly just chattering and chattering. The paladins don't even give you a second look, as you pass through the gates. Throughout the city, however, there's a bit of a tense air. You can just hear in the distance the town criers going. One of them, actually, the voice does resolve over a bit of the morning chatter. Emergency council meeting called this morning with regards to massacre at the docks. Any information on suspect involvement should be reported to the Blade Consign. Suspects are described as not local and accompanied by a large bird. Considered arcane and very dangerous.
A large bird.
Emergency council meeting, and it repeats.
Cat grimaces.
Good thing we don't have a large bird, huh?
Dang.
Don't rub it in!
Too soon?
It's not a good thing that we don't have large bird. Not a good thing.
But in reality, Finnan just shoots Cat a sidelong glance as they hear the crier, just kind of like a check-in point, basically.
And she kind of like nods, like, yeah, I'm okay.
And it's not even like, it's just a glance. He doesn't even drop conversation. It's literally just in the midst of conversation, so the nod kind of helps her to seem like she's actually engaging.
All right. So, you all continue to push on. You make your way through the main body of the city to the Shine Bard, where all of the ritzy homes are. Through the gates there, also manned by paladins. Again, not a second glance with that fucking 25. And you, the cart rolls to a stop in front of the Grain Manor.
Does Finnan know about this place?
Finnan would know of Artur Grain as owning a very large production company, a lot of mining of ores and the creation or the selling of refined metals and whatnot. But it is known that the owner of Grain Enterprises, Miss Artur Grain, is a bit of a shut-in, bit of a weirdo. She seems to like tinker with a lot of arcane stuff that people try to stay away as a business owner. Not that it's immoral stuff, but it's the fact that it's arcane, and there's not really a, business side to that.
So yeah, Finnan realizes that we're at Grain Manor and just kind of... Are there any paladins within, like, earshot?
No. You don't see any, monitoring this area at the moment.
So
It's kind of a
he
gated
just-
community.
He looks up at Cat and is just like, "How did you get in with Grain?"
Friends of a friend?
It's you gotta understand. This is weird.
We do weird things a lot.
You know,
Helga
I hadn't
whispers.
noticed.
I'm trying to get my cat.
I thought you were doing a whisper.
No, I'm trying to
Helga's
get my-
just
convince
whispered
my
to
cat
herself
let me-
under the cart.
Yes, I'm trying to get my cat to let me brush her. Because she keeps having hairballs. It's gross.
Nasty.
So what are you all doing?
Come here, Nasty. Come here, Nasty.
I'm gonna go in and knock on the door.
Knock, knock. Good kitty.
Let me go to my notes.
Are y'all still there?
Yep.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. I just
Oh.
heard Carly say knock on the door, and then I hear nothing.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted.
Knocking on Arthur's door.
Knock, knock, knocking on Grain store.
All right, so
Oh,
you
so
all you knock on the door. Very big, heavy oak doors.
what good.
One of Artur's butlers answers the door. Oh, hello again. Should I go grab Gergen or Ran?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and we do need to report into our tour. I'm sure that they've filled her in, but there are some things we need to discuss.
I'm afraid I'm not privy to the more private business matters of Mistress Artur, but do come in.
Thank you. And this is our friend Finnan. He's a business owner in the area, and he's been helping us out.
At your service, and he does like a whole regal bow and everything.
Oh.
Indeed, as she leads you in the elven woman.
I assume that Hops is well taken care of.
He's just kind of waiting out in front of the gates to the to the
I leave him with
manor.
a feed bag and I pet his mane a little bit.
Yeah, and I go and like tap on Helga's shoulder and let her in.
Oh, it is my time.
Yeah, so you all get into the manor. The door shuts behind you. The butler, whether you genuinely can't tell if it's Narina or Martha. She just says, "If you wouldn't mind waiting here, since I'm sorry, sir, but we're not perfectly familiar with you, and I would prefer you not to be free to wander throughout the
Absolutely
homestead."
He's
Uh,
not gonna.
No,
He's not gonna have to do the thing, is he? And Cat gives the butler, not knowing which one it is, like a sideline look.
No, ma'am. He's not being considered for hire at the moment, but we shall see.
Just making sure.
Narina! And she calls out, and Narina, who now you know which one it is, she kind of pokes her head out from the side, nods, and goes up the stairs, and returns a few minutes later, trailed by Artur, Gurg, and Oran.
hey, the dads.
They all have these very
Can I go
flushed.
give?
They have very flushed
go
and worried
give-
expressions on their
I
faces.
want to go give my dads a hug.
Cat runs up and hugs Gurg.
All right, cool.
Finnan does the thing where he stands off to the side not really knowing anybody in the party, but you know what? He's here.
Dads, this is our new little friend.
I've
His name's Finan.
I've met Oran.
Oh yeah. Dad.
There's a very, very large half-orc gentleman, green-skinned. He's currently wearing a nice, comfortable, baggy cotton shirt, but you can sort of just see it's not the thickest material. You can just sort of see some tattooing across his chest, and he looks like he's wearing plate armor just on his shoulders and arms. But as he approaches, there's no clinking or clanking. There's just a very light, slight whirring sound as he holds his hand out. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine. I'm glad to have finally met you.
He palms your hand. He just
Yeah,
closes
no, it's
his
just gone.
his massive hand. Gives your arm a firm shake and steps back. Puts his hand on Oren's shoulders and Gurg doesn't look very good.
Oh no!
Does he look like he's been in pain?
His arms appear to be working just fine. He doesn't appear to be in pain. He looks very tired.
Just like worn.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm assuming that Oran filled you in on everything that transpired in the mines.
Artur steps forward. Yes, actually, a few hours before Oran arrived, we were met by some of the survivors that said that they were saved by you.
Hey.
I offered them a hefty severance fee for their troubles. Let them out of their contracts, of course. What can we do? I can't imagine what you must be dealing with.
Bring back the bird. Can you
Seems
do
to be the
that,
current
or-
plan.
All three of them give you all a really weird look, like they have no idea what you're talking about.
I quickly fill them in on our meeting with the Graber and everything.
Oh, it's Oran. So, I don't want to get my hopes up, but you're saying there's a chance then.
There's a chance, and at this point, I'm willing to take any chance.
I
Bring
can't let you all go into danger again.
Well, you could come with us.
Wait,
She has a point.
And you don't have to feel obligated. And she gives him a very firm look at that, implying this was not your fault again.
and he
But
kind of
we
looks
give
at Gurg
all the help.
imploringly.
I can't do nothing. And Finnan has agreed to help.
Both in a financial standpoint, as well as I'm gonna go down there with him.
This guy's loaded and crazy. Love him.
I'm at least one of those.
How's it fair?
Yes, also
Hey,
apparently Helga
hey.
is bear.
Hey now. Guys just outed me to my dads.
And she says it in
Like a joking way that, as to break the tension sort of thing
because they're in front
of our tour, but she gives Oran and Gurg a "we'll talk" sort of look.
Mm-hmm.
Oren is still giving Gurg this imploring look, and Gurg seems to solidify himself for a moment and says, "All right, let's do it. What do you need?"
Manpower for sure, and I wanted to speak with you, Artur, about just everything that happened. I'm hoping that we've managed to gain some trust. I know that we weren't able to speak to or bring back the foreman, but
Yes, Oren gave us quite a detailed account of everything that happened. This has thrown quite the wrench into, not just my ventures, but, entirely turns on its head all of the research that I've done on this material. She kind of, like, looks at Finnan and then seems to think against, like, saying anything more. Would you mind stepping into, my reading room for a minute?
Oh, me? Sure, absolutely.
No, not you. Talking to Katrina still. Sorry, I didn't convey that.
yes.
Excellent. We can speak there. Would you, Martha, if you would please, show everyone to the actual tea room. Carly?
Continue.
Okay. Crap. See, now I lost my place. Yeah, Martha nods and, ushers you all to a different room than the one that you were, allowed into that first time you came to the building. This one is, nicely furnished, more comfortable and functional, and she does bring you all tea and some biscuits, and, you're allowed to, kind of stands by the door, not like a you can't leave, but more like a, you know, just, please stay in here unless you gotta, like, pee or something, because that kind of thing.
Finnan indulges in both tea and crumpets.
Spectacular.
Crumpet indulges in crumpets.
Cannibal.
Oh, yeah, so, Finnan...
He'd be a cannibal if he ate cat, too.
Finnan, you're just now noticing Helga has a really ugly fucking cat that kind of lives in her
Helga
scarf.
has a really ugly fucking...
Katrina, you are led into the familiar reading room. The room appears to be in partial disarray, but not like crazily so. Pillows are just kind of on the floor. There's a few like throw blankets that kind of messed up. It doesn't look like it was prepared for guests, at least.
I don't know if Oran told you all of the nitty-gritty details of what happened down there.
He told me quite a bit. If you would like to elaborate, please feel free. What did the foreman turn into? Do you know?
I don't know what it was called. It was awful.
I hate to... I would hate to make you relive this, so if you don't want to talk about this now, that's fine. The more information I could have on what this Alexite does to the humanoid body, the better we can protect ourselves against it. Obviously, the precautions that we've had before aren't enough. I need definitely to have armed guards stationed at any of my potential sites if they are considered as protected lands by the Parameter, then...
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to talk about.
Alright.
I fear that gods aren't the way to go in this situation. I don't want to see anything like this ever happen again. And if you have any if you trust us and want to make good on that trust, maybe try somehow to work out a deal with them. I'm not saying let them work in the mines or pay them, or I don't know how you would go about it, but I fear that any sort of chance for conflict in this situation will arise in conflict. And this stuff is far too dangerous to leave up to chance.
I definitely agree with you on that. I will definitely be entering into a few more intense conversations with the people who sold me the land. If this was considered as protected land by the Premiter, I'm also a little concerned as to how they got so far into that parcel of land. It certainly wasn't on the edge of... I mean, there are towns out closer to the Premiter than that. I'm wondering how far into Dagduria they've...
Well, we did try and speak with those in power about the fact that the Premiter are more than a little agitated and more than a little, the word, they've started to gather up. I can't make them listen. But maybe this incident and your small amount of sway might be enough. At least make them consider a peaceful solution.
I'm afraid, I'm afraid that freedom of information in this case might cause more harm than good. If people found out about this material, there would be mass hysteria.
I'm not saying tell them everything, just... I don't know.
Well, when you have to make an omelet, several eggs end up getting cracked, so we'll have to...
It's not an egg.
I'm not referring to your companion. I understand you're still suffering, and that's perfectly reasonable. I hired you to do this job, and there was not supposed to be any specific risk of this level. I'll of course, pay you double what I was going to.
I hope that we've proven ourselves to you. At least to some extent.
Well, you've certainly proved effective in ridding apparently a very, very dangerous series of entities from a workspace. There is something else that I do have in the works that I was going to see if you were interested in, but I understand right now you have something else to be focusing on, and I'm it can wait.
Right now we need to focus on...
I would be careful in the city. You may have heard that there was an emergency council meeting called.
Yeah, I heard.
Yes,
Bullshit.
we all have. Well, I had a little bit of something to do with that. So I'm hoping my contact within the Paladins was able to get through to High Overseer Coldfire. I'm hoping that he was able to listen to reason. And perhaps can maybe lessen the anger that the names on the council seem to have towards you.
Pardon me if I'm not overly optimistic.
Yes, well, money can only go so far, but I do have other ways of persuading. So I'm fairly confident that you will at least not be killed on sight, which is a good start.
Tour,
Yes.
you're not going to sell this stuff to bad people, are you?
Well, define bad people.
No, I'm not in the
people. I don't want to see slave trade be switched out for something worse.
Well, I don't deal in slaves, but when you run a business, there are certain moral quandaries that you end up shelving. I can assure you that I don't intend to cause harm. I want to understand. This is a substance that may have existed at the beginning of all creation. And if I can unlock the secrets of it, can you imagine what lost histories we may uncover from before the War of Kings, before the glittering archive was destroyed? Imagine what could be restored, what knowledge we could. The benefits far outweigh any cost that I might incur from researching this.
Do hope that you're right. I have one other thing that I wanted to talk about.
All right.
Do you have loyalties? Are you a free agent or are you in someone's pocket? I guess is what I'm asking. Not in so many words, but
I have been beholden to people with power above me before, and I can assure you I will never allow that to happen again.
that's very good to hear. If someone were to offer actions to kingdom far from here,
Are you offering something specific, or is this just a hypothetical?
hypothetically, I might know of a place that has an arcanist and might benefit from further knowledge.
Well, I'm always interested in making new business partners, but I'm afraid that that my research is not quite for sale.
No, that's not. Just more finding out if you would be willing to make actions overseas.
Overseas? Overseas?
Specifically in the Mist Kingdoms?
Well,
Old lands, magical lands, and
yes, I've heard quite the fantastical tale of bit of an old traditional land, yes?
yes,
I do see
very traditional.
yeah, I do see the way that you carry yourself. I am quite surprised actually that they allow women to be knights over there, from what I've heard.
They don't exactly.
Beautiful. This is why we live, cat.
Well, like I said, I'm always open to new business opportunities.
Right. Keep that in mind.
Now, you have a friend to save. Is there anything that I can do?
I don't know. I wanted to talk with you guys about this if we wanted to ask our tour for anything or.
Yep, they're not there.
Yeah.
Go for it. You got it.
All you.
I think that just everything that is transpired is enough. I can't ask you to. I can't ask for any help in this situation when we knew that the risks we were getting into.
Well, in that case, at least let me offer you good luck.
Thank you.
And you are led out of the room to the tea room where everyone is just happily sipping tea.
Just as the door opens, Finnan puts on the most boisterous, just like this, clearly just playing it up.
Excellent.
Just saying absolute nonsense.
He's literally just blubbering as soon as the door opens.
Yes.
And that's what I said!
And I don't even like sardines, or whatever it was that Tiff said in that first episode.
Oh
Oh yeah, what did Tiffany say?
Don't remember.
I can't remember. Tiffany, do you remember?
Pastrami!
I don't even like
And
pastrami!
I said to them, I don't even like pastrami.
God.
Hehe.
Oran just kind of like takes the hint and like... That
That was the dumbest thing in the world.
There, baby cat.
So, what's the plan?
Well, we know where we have to go. We know who we're looking for, roughly.
Alright.
We know roughly what they're capable of.
Alright.
And we know what assets we have. We have Katrina, who is... And he just, like, leans over to Oran and, like, what does Katrina do?
Trina,
She kind of sets shit on fire.
just say she
And
hits it
some-
with
and
the sword.
some-
Puts the stuff on fire.
And
Sometimes it's even on purpose.
So she sets things on... Okay, let me... I have to go check my insurance when I get back to the flagon. And Helga is hitting things very hard, like a bear.
Yes.
And then that leaves... I know I'm going in. And that leaves...
Gug, how are you doing? How are your arms? Do his arms look any different?
His arms... okay, so it's like, any of you that's seen One Punch Man, it's like the difference between, it's actually interesting. His arms look a lot less like plate metal, and a little bit more kind of like, Genos from One Punch Man.
Neat.
Gotcha.
But entirely silver, but like there's a little bit more of a little bit more refined kind of powerful look to them. And he lifts one of his arms up and it divides like General Grievous, and then comes back together.
And he just watches that and just, hello there.
Fun.
It's useful for percussion.
Remind me to offer you some performance space at the flagon.
Yeah, and actually, as you look at the two of them, there's just something familiar about this river elf and half Primatere gentleman, and you realize, oh shit, this is Perturbing Declaration, the
Perturbing
fucking
Declaration.
band duo. Like, it would be like if you, like, randomly ran into fucking,
Minute work.
basically, yeah, if you were just like, wait a second, it's like, not like, you know, it's not like ultimate celebrity status, but like, if you suddenly were like, wait a second, that's
I like
the
real
singer,
intimate.
that's like the singer and guitarist from, like, Dragon Force, or some shit like that. Like, you'd recognize them a little bit.
And Finnan just, a very good contract. He just, like, definitely looks shocked when he makes the realization. He's just, all right, it's going to be much better than I was expecting. Maybe a little too good.
Oh my gosh. I forget that Oren and Gurg are like kind of famous.
Yeah, but they're like kind of dad famous. It's like they got used to it for a little bit, and now they don't really expect it because they're old.
Oh.
So
They're like universe.
They're basically Greg Universe.
Right, universe.
So they'll so what we'll do is we'll go out to those ruins, kind of make our way in, get a feel for what's going on, and we'll
We'll
I-
stop a crazy demon worshiper. Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Hooray.
we'll fuck some shit up.
Let's fuck some shit up.
Gerg just sighs. He looks exhausted.
Greg, you don't have to come.
I definitely do if Oren is coming. You're never going anywhere again without me.
He held his own. If he hadn't been there, we probably all would have died.
He was alone, and that was my failure.
Still, you should be proud of him.
I am. And he like kind of rubs his back a little bit. And there's like some complex like facial expressions happening that genuinely just you guys it would take too much effort to read what's going on right there.
Yeah.
Unless you want to try. Anyway, so you all make your way outside. Yeah, exactly. You pack Helga into the cart once again. Where are you going?
Hooray.
Going to the ruins.
All right.
I think we're going right in.
Okay. You all make your way to the edge of town, and you make your way downtown. No, it's actually it's east of the city, kind of along the banks of the river. So you make your way out of the nearest gate, which is south and east of the Shinebard, and you go through what looks like kind of an artsy district. There's like a lot of sculptures and wooden platforms where some people are kind of singing, playing on instruments. It's just it's a nice day, and the snow is beginning to melt. The sun is out again, and it's already melting the snow, so it's less snow and more sludge. Because of that, however, the river is up a little higher, and there's some mud, so your feet kind of do squish through the dirt path as it becomes as you move further and further out of the city.
Of course, have my cloak on and Helga's in the cart.
Yeah, and I'm the only one walking, actually, aside from Oran and Gerg.
Oren's probably riding on Kirk's shoulders.
No, he is walking alongside Gerg.
Well darn.
You all make your way out of the city limits, and the bright star in the sky that is the Eye of Justine hovering above the city begins to, dwindle a bit. It still lights the area, but the wall slowly shrinks behind you. After a couple of hours of walking, you reach a large crooked tree that hangs over the river itself, the Dothar River. And to your left, you do see a lot of you just passed some kind of a copse of trees, and to your left kind of stretches a bit of swampland, which in the kind of in the distance you can see a bit of a black speck that's kind of jagged shaped, and it kind of matches the landmark of where Val told you that the old dwarven watchtower used to be, anyway.
Looks like we found the place.
Looks like, and there's no one around, right?
Not that you can see, no.
So Cat pulls off her cloak and just unceremoniously rips off her dress, like pulls it over her head,
Mhm.
reveal her armor underneath.
You're sweating a little bit.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
All right.
God, I hate dresses.
Me too. They just don't fit right, you know?
No, I totally agree.
All right. So, do you all make your way towards it? It's kind of muddy marshland. It doesn't look like the cart's gonna be able to make it through the mud.
Yeah, Finnan ties up Hops and just says, "You know I'll be back. I always come back."
Mm.
Kind of just chews absent-mindedly, but like his left ear twitches in acknowledgement.
That's what I like to hear.
All right. The sun is high in the sky as you make your way through the swampland towards the distant ruins. So that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for being here. If you are listening to this on iTunes, please be sure to leave us a review because it super duper helps us out. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment about your favorite part, and your predictions for the next episode. Once again, go ahead and check out Conscious Lee. Now, again, not a member of the TTRPG community, but he's doing super important work educating young people. He's a public speaker. He's very active on social media. Go check him out. I'll put a lot of his links in the description down below. Thank you all, once again, so much for being here. Please be safe, share some love, and tell a story. Good night.